That's the TESL live stream. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're going to talk about physical contact when it comes to teaching in a classroom. There are things you shouldn't do, and we're going to see the limits, the do's and don'ts of physical contact in your class. This is a this is quite a taboo thing among teachers because when you have trainings in schools, nobody is going to go on this subject really like we're going to go today. You don't have formal training. I never had that 20 years ago when I started to teach. And, I think now it's becoming a bigger issue because, the evolution, right? Kids are growing. And then with all those screens that you have everywhere, kids have watches, that can take pictures in your class. Is really also difficult to say, no, you can't have this with you. There are many facts that today teachers really have to be careful on their behavior in the class with physical contact. So we're going to go through all of this today. We're going to see the do's and don'ts, like I said, and also according to different ages, and we'll see what is appropriate to do or not to do. All right. So today, of course, Stu is going to be here with me. So thank you. If you are watching the replay on YouTube, on Facebook, you can say a little hello into the chat room. And today, the chat room is really nice because I can we can see your chats. Maybe is going to come. Uh, we can see the chat room. Uh, Hello from Romania. Yeah, I think the chat room overlay is going to come in a moment. All right, doesn't matter. Thank you so much, all of you. Okay, I was checking something. Doesn't matter. Let's welcome Stu, trying to figure it out a little bit, all the stuff in here. Thank you so much for watching. Let's welcome Stu.
Hey, DJ!
Can't touch this.
Hi now, Stu.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Stu, how are you doing?
How's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's no
Cool,
problem
cool,
for
cool.
me.
I've got some new headphones this week, so it's always anything new, anything could happen. So I'm glad that I'm coming through okay.
Yeah, that's techniques. As well, here is we're streaming. We used to go on Streamyard all the time. Today we are trying Restream, which is also a streaming platform. It's quite awesome. No, not much problem, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say, Mike. You're really good at this, because you're kind of talking live to the audience, but in the background you're trying to set everything up and everything. It's very, very difficult. You do a great job, so thanks very much. We'll see how this goes. As always, if you're in the audience, let us know with comments and things. And yeah, this is going to be a good one, actually, Mike. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yes, you can say thank you very much again for being with us, Stu, today. If you guys are in the chat, let us know where you're from, where you're teaching, and if you had issues like what we're gonna be talking about. It's not it's a taboo subject, right? It's not something that people really talk.
No, so basically, yeah, Mike. When you contacted me earlier in the week, he said, right, let's do a live on Sunday. I was like, yeah, sure. And then you put forward this idea. At first, I was like, oh, let's not go there, you know. It could be a bit like risky,
Yeah,
you know. And then I thought, no, this needs to be done because this is something that affects all teachers. Like you say, it is a bit of a taboo subject, but it shouldn't be. And it's something that we should
exactly,
discuss to know what the boundaries are. And the problem is the boundaries are changing all of the time, right?
exactly.
What is not okay today was okay 10 years ago, you know. So the goalposts do move, and it's important to discuss this and put this on the table. Yeah, this is essential for everybody. So I'm really looking forward to this today, Mike.
Exactly. So yeah, today we gonna be talking about this, the issue of physical contact with students, and a little disclaimer because this live session discusses about recommendations on physical contact with students in educational settings, and it is intended for informational purposes only, all right, and does not constitute legal or professional advice, all right, because this is a very, this is a kind of subject that is very difficult to abort. We might go through some words that might be shocking to see on education platform, but there's so much kids suffering about this physical contact. You don't know the students that you have in front of you, what they have been, uh, you know, what happened in their life. So sometimes it's very important for schools to communicate with their teacher when you have kids who had issues in the past with physical contact. It's something really important. So yeah, I just wanted to point it out, this to make sure we are clear with that. Today, it's all about information. We are teachers, right? We're professionals, me and Stu,
Mm,
but um, this is not only in the educational stuff. Okay, it's also something psychological, right? So we're not
mm.
professional in this for this background for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we're gonna come and we're gonna be uh, talking about this a bit later on. You know, it's each case is on a case by case basis, right? And you have to like use your common sense. And what is okay in one culture may not be okay in another culture. So obviously, this is a live stream. This is going out to countries all over the world, and what is okay in your country may not be okay in another. So yeah, as Mike says, this is just for informational purposes and to open up the discussion. This is not just one way of us talking to you. We want to hear from you too.
Exactly. And, for example, for people from my culture, being from France, imagine from when you're from South America, Latinos, hola, todos los, ¿cómo se dice? Bienvenido, gracias de estar aquí. So it's, there are cultures who are very much on the touch, hugging, but that might be a little problem. All depends on how old the kids are, but for sure there are teachers have to control their themselves. And one thing, maybe if you never had that training, we never had that training, right? We never had a training so deep on how to be careful with your um, physical contact. But when there's
Mm,
something you don't know, when you don't know how to react to, you get a situation in your classroom, you don't know how to react, you always have to, um, if you are, like it says in here on the screen, in uncertain situation, consider how a responsible parent would act. And this approach will keep you on the right track and legally safe. Because that's it. We are from different countries. We're teaching in different countries, and it's never easy. You know, laws is different in different countries, right? It's not all the
Mm.
same. So always remember the parents should be the same in all around the world, right? So pay attention. I mean, the thing is, be a responsible parent, and like your parents used to deal with you, maybe if you are not a father or a mother. But now I'm a father with 4 kids, so I know what I should do or not when it comes to physical contact.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing though. Like if you're uncertain, you know, all of us deep down, we know what is appropriate, appropriate touching and what is inappropriate. And there's,
Of course.
yeah. And like you say, like when we were doing our teacher training, when I was first doing my teacher training in the UK, this wasn't covered at all. That, you know, it just wasn't
Yeah,
part of the course. And I moved over to China, and you know, the school never talked about it. The teachers never discussed it amongst themselves. Maybe that was, you know, 20 years ago. Like it wasn't such of a big topic as it is today. Maybe it is a bit more today, but yeah, as long as you know you know to yourself what is appropriate and inappropriate, and just stick to that, you should be okay. But there will be times, yeah, again, we're going to cover it a bit later. There will becomes like case to case. A child might come up to you in distress or whatever, with her arms out, and I think in that situation, you know, it's okay to give a hug, you know, to if a child is in distress, you know. But anyway, yeah, sorry, yeah, carry on there, Mike.
yeah, no, that's completely right. Yeah, and one thing is, which is really important, very important to do, is to make sure what your school, you know, make sure about your school policies, right? Um, when I arrive in well, I've been teaching for a good, we're gonna say a good, yeah, 18, 19 years in different training centers, primary schools. And then when I arrive in international school, they say, you don't touch. For any kind of reasons, you don't touch your students. So, you know, when you take this in the face, you're like, yeah, okay. And there's no other reason for that. I mean, we had a, you know, faculty meeting, and then they just tell you this like that, and that's pretty much it. You know, don't touch your students.
Mm,
That's all.
mm.
Yeah. So you
In
always think, because you know sometimes the thing is you don't touch your students, but the students come to touch you. You know,
yeah.
and there's also a thing. You know, there are students without boundaries. They don't care about that bubble. They don't have that. They go right
Yeah,
to you and they yeah. So it's always
that's
difficult
another thing,
to
isn't it? Like your school says
yeah.
like you're not allowed to touch for any reason. You're not allowed to touch. The kids don't know that, and then they come up, they adore you, and they come up, you know, they want to high five, they want to cut, they want to list, want to, you know, make physical contact. We're all humans, you know. It's normal to make physical contact, and I think society has made it kind of, you know, to be safe, you don't touch at all. It's just so it's not human. So it's very difficult. But no, Mike, you're right. Check your school policies. And then you can't go wrong, right? In my last international school, which was in the same city as Mike was in,
Yeah.
but I was at a different school, we were told it is okay as long as it is appropriate touching, a hand on the shoulder, you know, something like that. Well done, you've done really good today. This is appropriate touching. Again, a child in distress, that might be appropriate touching, but it was, you know, they let teachers have common sense with it to know what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. They had quite a mature outlook on that. And but also they said, you know, make sure, you know, try, you know, if there is like a hand on the shoulder, if you're alone in the room with a child, just not at all. You know, make sure there's another adult around, so then, you know, you're covered, basically, that you haven't done anything wrong. But yeah, check your school's policy. And if it's not clear what the policy is, then go and ask. Make it a point to go and find out what the policy is.
Right. Exactly. That's true. So we're gonna go with the valid physical contact. What are the valid reasons? You know what you can do. Just now, Stu said, like giving a tap on the shoulder will be fine, right? I mean, you have to reward your students, right? A high five is very important for some students. You know, the reward, it's a part of rewarding. So yeah, so here are some valid reasons for you to have that contact, that physical contact. When you praise, you congratulate, just what I was saying just now, and then uh, of course you have some teachers that are not only language teacher, but you get teacher who are music teacher or PE teachers. They might need to touch you, you know, for the purpose of, making the right notes or doing the right action in sport, right? So when a teacher needs to show, to demonstrate, to model, it's all fine, right? As well, like Stu was saying earlier, to console, to comfort, to support a kid, it's very important. Of course, you can have that contact with students, and of course,
Mm,
emergencies. Uh, you know, first ed when you apply a
mm.
first ed, it's also something really important. You cannot let the kid suffering.
Yeah, like that's a really good one there, like modeling. So let's say you're modeling like a language
Oh
activity,
yeah,
or you get a couple of kids to stand up, but they're standing in the wrong place. Like
yeah,
it's so much easier just to like hands on both arms, just lead them this way, that way, and then you can start your modeling. It's just natural teaching. And again, this is appropriate touching. This is not inappropriate in any way.
exactly. And as well, what do we get? Yeah, restrained. Yeah, yeah, in emergency, yeah, where a child need immediate cooperation, of course. Restrain children, including using reasonable force to stop fighting. This is something really, really important. Of course, I remember I had two kids. I had two students right in front of me in that was in primary school, grade six, and you had those two students. They start to fight like, but they were sitting next to each other, deskmate. And then they were like, start a fight, So I went like right away and then stopped because they were not, slapping each other. It was fist, suddenly like this in a class. And, they were starting to get up and then boom, boom. So I had to arrive and then boom, up, calm down, just hold hold back one of the one of the kids, and that was, yeah, that's something, because these kids, even if they're primary school students, grade six, damn, they're big now.
Yeah, I had my last students were grade 7, and like two of them were bigger than me. And these are big guys, I don't know what they've been eating.
Yeah,
Same thing. I had two students started a fight in the class. That is a situation where you have to act, and it's no problem at all. Move one student away, separate them, make physical contact, and take control of your classroom. It's okay.
yeah, it is true. Yeah, I even had a kid who was trying to fight my assistant. He sweared on her, and that
Wow.
was he started to go after her, shouting after her, and then I was teaching, and then so I just stopped and I went right to the guy to try to uh, yeah, Don't
mm,
start to be, because the kids started to be, looking like he wanted to throw a fist or two because he was swearing on her. That was in a primary school and
mm,
grade six, and he was almost as tall as me. So that's scary sometimes. So
mm,
and the teacher, my assistant, was a woman, short woman. So she was looking at that kid
mm,
like that. But after that, he went to the principal, and the parents came to school and even apologized to me as well in the class.
mm,
So,
mm.
well, after everything, right? So you really have to be careful. That's for sure. The
Yeah, but
bad
these
touch.
these these things happen, Mike. As a teacher, you never,
Yeah,
when you go into the classroom, you've got your plan. You never know what's going to happen, so you need to
exactly,
get ready. And talking about this today is, as part of that preparedness.
exactly. The bad touch. Any touch that makes a child feel uncomfortable, afraid, or nervous. Examples, that include heating or inappropriate touching of a child's body. So this is
Mm,
what we call the bad touch, and because that can provoke them something that is not really good after in the future, right? It has psychological uh, results that wouldn't be good for him for sure.
mm, mm. I was before this live stream, I was looking at the UK government's guidelines upon touching in class, and they were quite open about it. They said it is teachers should touch their students. You should feel that it's okay, but use your common sense again. Obviously, this is bad touching, something that would make a child feel, uncomfortable, afraid, or nervous. But also, let's say the hand on the shoulder. If you were to do that too often, if you do that a couple of times each class, then that then becomes inappropriate. So this is where you need to use your common sense about what is appropriate and inappropriate in any given situation. And again, it depends where you teach, in what part of the world,
The
what
truth.
culture. Yeah. So just understand what the school's policies are, show common sense yourself, and just know right from wrong, and you should be okay.
Exactly. So we're gonna be looking at that, considering several factors that you started to talk. You just said that it all depends the age of the students, right? So we're gonna see that first part. We'll see the cultural, personal facts, maybe common problem areas, and male educator. We're gonna go through this. So yeah, in the age in kindergarten, well, it's not. In kindergarten, kids often ask you to hug. Or they would spontaneously come to you and give you a big hug. And how can you not answer it, right? I mean, answer is like, just let him hug you. That he likes you, right?
Mm.
At this age, physical contact is not a big, very big deal.
Yeah, I've been teaching kindergartens, and you're right. Kids come
Yeah,
up and want to hug you all the time. That's what little kids do,
yeah,
and you shouldn't be afraid of that. And also, if let's say a kid comes to hug you, I don't think you should be like, okay, hands up. I'm not, I don't think you need to go that
yeah,
far. Like, if a kid was to come up to me in the kindergarten wanting a hug, give me a quick hug. you know, it's okay. It's just maybe it's just me. I'm a dad as well. That's what kids do. But again, as long as it's not too much, and yeah, just know right from wrong. So how long's a piece of string? It's really hard to answer, isn't it? But my own feeling is that zero contact probably is not the right way to go about things, especially with little kids who don't understand and just want to go and hug their teacher. It's okay, I think.
True, because they need that love as well. I mean, when I say love, they mean that being appreciated by the teacher.
Mm, yeah, they
Uh,
kids look up to adults and teachers as caregivers,
Comfort.
and it's a comfort, and
Yeah.
they like to be praised. They like to show the teacher how well they've done in class. And I don't think that you should just completely push that away. You'll really destroy a child's confidence and their rapport with you by doing that.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, for young kids, it's quite pretty much found fine. Yeah, from kindergarten to second grade, they're very open to this. For middle grades, it starts to be a little bit more complicated because, especially with girls. Uh, yeah, for grade 4 to grade now, female students are highly aware of their sexuality, often interpreting touches on the shoulder or back as sexual and being sensitive about comments on their clothing and appearance. And this age group sees the most accusation of improper touching in schools. And what I get these informations are were usually in America. So that would be more based when they are say that there are quite lot of accusations. It's more on the in the U.S. And yeah, so typical issues involving patting knees, arms around shoulders, hands and waist, and all that stuff that kids usually do in uh, in the class. You know, we've seen that when we were that age, right? I remember you see that, so, but that was more other. As a teacher, you can do that, but you would. I remember I had some of my classmates. They would do this to the girls. You know that the snapping bra straps. That's not cool. But you
Yeah,
know,
and I think
yeah,
I think completely right. As students become older, they do become more aware. Actually,
yeah,
this is where when in here it says you get accusations which may be completely false, or what you've done has been misinterpreted by the student, and the student has
true.
misinterpreted your very, you know, let's say you put a hand on the shoulder, just for example. The student has
Yeah,
misinterpreted that as being inappropriate, has gone home to tell their parents that they felt that they've been touched inappropriately. Then the parents lose their mind, contact the school. This becomes a very serious issue. You haven't done anything really. So this is where cameras in the school can and should be, to help out the teacher in these kinds of situations, to prove that you haven't done anything. So yeah, don't. I was never. I was never concerned that there was cameras in my classroom. This is always a good thing for me. In case there was an accident, a child fell over, a child hurt themselves, whatever, it's proof that there's been no wrongdoing on the teacher's part.
right. Yeah, exactly. This is also something really, really important. I'm always worried about this kids being secure, especially when I've been teaching a lot in kindergartens, and that's a big issue because kids are running all around the room, and about higher grades here, touching is generally unaccepted. That's what they say in high school. For my school, they say no touch, don't touch. So
Mm, mm.
it's unacceptable for older students and educators that often face issues when counseling them, especially on sexual or romantic topics. Educator must never engage in a romantic or sexual relationship with students, regardless of who initiates. So this is of course, it's a taboo stuff, but it's really important to point it out that everybody has to know, because at this age, you're gonna go to the court, you know, and that's how it's gonna end up, and some students that are not fine with this, they can just take you can just find yourself in front of a judge. So
Mm.
that's not really cool. With higher grades, you really have to pay attention
Yeah,
on
absolutely. And,
your.
and again, this just comes down to common sense approaches to being a teacher. You know what you can and can't do, really. Yeah,
Sure.
and with older grades, there's never really, they won't be able to consoling hug or anything like that you get with a little 3-year-old. So there's not really ever a reason why you would need to do that, or so just don't do it.
Exactly. Just avoid, that would be that would be fine. And checking, yeah, just like a little,
Can't touch this.
yeah,
Ah,
Can't
the
touch
old
this.
MC Hammer.
yeah. No, just because I can see that today we have very shy. I know this topic is quite pretty taboo, so people might not want really to talk about it, but it's quite very. I think it's a very important topic because you and me, Stu, we never had this when we arrived in China 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Training centers would, yeah, they like you said, it's common sense, but you get some young teachers that they don't
Yeah.
even know.
Well, I'll tell you a true story. I won't mention any names or the city or anything, but this was in
Yeah,
China, and I had a friend who was a manager of a training school, and he
yeah,
was like in charge of like 10, 15 teachers or whatever, and one of the teachers got sacked.
mm,
Kept phoning in sick, not very good teacher. He got sacked, you know, and the teacher who got sacked had a photo of the manager. It was like a Halloween party or something like that. And so they were like, all the kids were mucking around on the floor. The teacher, the manager was sitting down on the floor, and he was kind of involved in this kind of play fighting with these kids. And then the guy who got sacked had a photo, and it looked really bad on the outside. It looked so
yeah,
inappropriate. And the teacher was going, right, I'm going to, the guy who got sacked, right, I'm going to post this all over like WeChat or whatever, you're going to pay, you shouldn't have sacked me, blah, blah, blah. And, because I was in charge of
oh,
the chat groups in China, this academic manager, really nice guy, he was so worried about this. And I said,
yeah,
look, you didn't mean any harm, but how does the photo look from someone looking on the outside? I said, you've put yourself in that position. It looks completely inappropriate, even if you didn't mean it to. That's what it looks like. I said, just safeguarding, but protect yourself as well. You shouldn't be, even though it was
sure,
culturally, maybe in China it was culturally okay, but in the West, you just couldn't do that because it is culturally different. Yeah, so that this is important. Follow common sense. Follow what is okay for the culture that you're teaching him, because that's a huge factor that you need to take into consideration. Some cultures, like you say, Mike, France, I've taught Italian students before. There is different, they have different ideas about what is okay, what is not okay. So understand this is cultural competence that all teachers should develop and take seriously. What is okay in one culture, maybe not okay in another.
yes, because some individuals, like we say, cultural, personal factors. Some individuals and some in some cultures are very uncomfortable with any sort of touching. Like, for example, we've been teaching in China. In China, I'm not gonna do like back home. Even if I meet one of my good Chinese friends, I'm never gonna kiss them to say hello. Back home, that would be really normal. So imagine in the class. In China, well, it's they are. It's difficult to compare, but yeah, the kids are kids for sure. When it's kindergarten till grade two, they are
Mm,
like normal kids like all around the world. But when it comes to a higher grades, they are kind of afraid of the touch, not like a French or Italian
mm,
kid would be. It's very
mm,
different. So, and yeah, it's also very important to uh, that schools let teachers know about children who have previously been sexually abused, and may, misperceive a neutral touch as a sexual one. So it's very important because even if you touch that kid, he's gonna think that even if it's a neutral touch, he's gonna think that it's sexual, right? Some of them have uh, uh, psychological, you know,
mm.
don't know how to explain that. So
Yeah, no, it's
they have
okay.
been
Some kind of, yeah, just like everybody's different, right? Every child's
exactly
different. So yeah, you don't know
what
the
happened.
background of things sometimes, and often schools won't either. Unless they've had some kind of inside information from that schools may not know either. So just
Yeah,
be aware and just you know use your own common sense.
bro. I've heard on the male educators I've seen on internet that there are some schools who do not employ male because male educators are often seen as sexual aggressors. So, uh, that's the most common accusation, and must be careful. We must really male really have to be careful about it because it's also an issue.
Mm,
Uh, Let me see what I was saying. Yeah. Uh, yeah, because they face most accusation and must carefully review their behavior to avoid misinterpretation, right? However, female educators are not immune, right? With
yeah,
some cases also involving inappropriate romantic and
yeah. My
kind of
my wife my wife works as a Montessori practitioner, so she's working with like children from 2 to like 5 every day. Picks up children all the time. Kids come up to her, run, give her a kiss. She kisses them back, gives them a hug, and it's completely normal. But if you're a guy and you're giving kids a hug and a kiss, all of a sudden your alarm bells start ringing. So unfortunately, males are kind of have that extra kind of eyes upon them, rightly or wrongly, right? And what you can get away with as a female, like you just can't do as a male. So yeah, that's another consideration. And you're right, lots of kindergartens will only employ female staff. Maybe they think they've got more kind of caregiving skills, or more kind of empathy with young children or whatnot. But yeah, it's something as a male, any male teacher needs to really kind of watch how things are perceived, right?
exactly, that's for sure. So yeah, just wanted to uh, come back on, yeah, what is the main point, yeah, you've been pointing out as well, which is when, as a teacher, always follow your school policies and guided by common sense and legal guidelines. We've been saying this for for quite long, but that's really important. And in uncertain situation, consider how a responsible parent would act, and this will keep you, right on the track and legally safe.
Mm.
That's a very important point. If you guys get a question, I can see that you're very quiet today. The topic is quite a little bit like, huh?
Can't
Come on,
touch this.
come on.
Can't touch
Yeah,
this.
if there's
Yeah,
any teachers out there that have any stories or anything that happens in their school or something they've heard of, let us know. It's this is something that should be on the table, to talk about, just like lesson planning, like classroom management, like, this is part of teaching.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I wanted to do this live because the about this topic because the other day I did a short about I was teaching uh, directions. I was teaching, yeah, turn right, turn left, but the kids are not very clear with left and right. So, there are many ways to teach them, right? And then I wanted to, use senses, which means making some noise here, or it was even touching, maybe I would say you got a here, you got this is your left here, your left arm, I was touching the kid like that. And one of them, they were grade one students. So one of the viewers, subscribers came to me and said, "Hey, you got to be careful. Some kids might be not okay with this." Now he was talking about the good touch, bad touch. So touching is very nowadays. But that was a video I made like 6, 7 years ago. So we had no ideas. Well, nobody, it was just fine, just that, oh, this is your hand, your arm, uh, your left shoes, your right shoes. So, just making fun as well. But the kid, I know the kid, I know it wouldn't upset him. He was like, yeah, teacher, I want to try, So he was right. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and that's quite pretty true. That's before. Sometimes you might, because I'm someone who's very, I like to hug my friends. I like to. I'm really on the, you know, I need to to feel my friends. I like to give a handshake to my friend. Or whatever it is. So
Mm,
but that's true that for now, for today, with students, we really have to be careful. I mean, uh, for kindergartens or grade one or two, you're not going to refuse a hug or a kids who, uh,
yeah, that
give you
that
a
that's
high
it. I mean,
five.
like, when I was teaching kindergarten, I never refused a hug. It's, to me, it's just
Good.
so, like,
It's so unhuman.
so like inhuman, unhuman to push
Yeah.
away a child. Like, oh, I'm not allowed to
Yeah.
touch you. Go away. Like, I've never done that, and I never will, to be
Yeah.
honest. Um,
No.
yeah, that's it. As long as you know what your boundaries are, you know what is inappropriate. But if a young child wants to come and hug you, it's okay for me. Yeah, it's okay for
Yeah. That's true. I remember because when I was in primary school, I had the kids always slapping my bottom, and it became an issue because
me. You can't stop
they
them.
were yeah, you can't
Yeah,
stop them, and
yeah. The only way to
I'm
stop
not
them is
gonna
go
say
mad, and it's like yeah.
it's not that it hurts, but it's just like, come on, and then you have the teacher, stop this, come on, stop this,
Yeah, like,
but
then it gets a bit out of control. But yeah,
and the thing is that they were following me to the first floor. So I was on the second floor. I used to go downstairs in the stairs, and the kid would go with me, and I almost fell in the stairs with the kid because he was grabbing my clothes and all stuff. So I was like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh. Stop, hold out."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was crazy. Uh, I remember a good one as well. You know, Hudzamar, you know that school. I can say the name is not a big deal because it's not about it's not about contact. It was just the kids. I had a demo class. I had 2 periods of demo class, and in this class, that was great too. Kids were like uh, eight, 80, 70 something. You know, the number of kids in that was back in
Mm.
2003, 2004, and there were like 80 in a classroom. Uh, we had good fun during the period, and I did 2 periods, so 2 class, which made like 160 students, right? When I when it so it was the break after 2 periods, the break, and then these 2 classes were next to each other, and then the kids coming out, they say, "Oh, that's the foreign year who was so fun," and then you had 160 kids starting to run in my direction, and it was like, "Dude, what?" And then it's like, I know they're gonna grab, they're gonna grab
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
and you want to keep your pants on. So because when they grab you, it's sometimes
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I've you're
You
trying to
have
keep,
you.
yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced that. And then
Ah, yeah.
I ran
Going
away.
to, I used to like very similar thing. We used to work at a training center in China, and then so all of the lessons were like on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
So on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever, they'll send you to local primary schools or local middle schools or whatever, and you turn up at the gate, and you're like the foreign teacher for the week. Maybe look forward to it all week. So you come in,
yeah,
it's like lunchtime or something, and you turn up. You've got your like tape cassette player or whatever, and you've literally got a wall of students, like 200 students, I'm charging at you. Yeah, charging the light
yeah. Oh man, I can't forget that one
bill. Yeah,
because
yeah,
the te-
good
yeah, I
memories.
had 2 teachers in front of me. No, don't move, don't move. But the
Yeah.
kids just didn't care.
Yeah, and if you
And
run away, it's
then,
even worse because like they just chase you and
but
it
yeah,
becomes even more funny.
but I was looking around. I was like, is there a tree around so that I can grab that tree?
Yeah,
And there was nothing like a
yeah.
playground. And then I said, oh, I'm gonna run. And the first class, the first room, I'm just gonna enter into that room. I enter into the room, and that was the principal's room. And I arrived like a crazy guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh shit.
No, but these are all like great stories of of teaching times, right? And it's gonna
Oh man.
happen. You're gonna have students making contact with you rather than you making contact
Yeah,
with students. You know what I mean? And if a student comes up to you, and it's okay, just appropriate teaching is okay. I think that's the main message of from today. As long as it's appropriate,
exactly.
check with your school what the policies are, and take that into consideration. Take into consideration where you teach, the age group you're teaching, and yeah, just employ common sense, and I think you'll always be okay. You won't ever have a problem.
Exactly. That's great. All right. Thank you very much, Stu, for coming today. Hope everything is fine back in England.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yeah, I was away for a couple of days. Had some things going on, but yeah, it's good to be back. Thank you, Mike.
And then don't forget to go and follow Stu on YouTube. You can scan and you go right to Stu's channel on YouTube. And as well, Stu has TEFL Lemon courses, a really awesome TEFL course. Can you say a little bit about
Yeah,
it? Present a
sure.
little
Yeah,
bit your
no problem.
course?
No problem at all. So yeah, it's a 180-hour higher certificate of TESOL. So it's perfect if you're looking to get TESOL qualified, or you want to take a new qualification just to brush up your skills and touch up your skills. It's completely online, so you can just work from your office or from your home. You work your way through 20 awesome modules that are going to teach you about different facets of teaching. You've got tutor support, so you've got someone dedicated to take care of you one-to-one. That tutor won't change. And at the end of all 20 units, you pass the course and you are awarded your accredited level 4 TESOLs, globally accredited, and a very, very good course. So please feel free to scan away.
Thank you so much, Stu, for coming today. Hope to see you next week. If we can do it again, it's always a pleasure to be with you. We had good fun,
Yes, absolutely.
even if everybody was a little bit shy, but it's understandable. I hope at least it has helped all of you with this question that it's always in mind, and it's also a big trouble for new teachers. Some new teachers
Mm,
are really afraid about this contact, but it's not a big deal. And like we said as well, this like common senses, and then you'll be fine. Remember
absolutely.
how I'm sure many of you viewers here have been well educated. You know what to do uh, as a teacher, so I think it's not a big deal for sure. Uh, so we're gonna say goodbye. Thank you very much, Sue, for coming.
No
And
problem at
so
all.
I'll see you next week. Thank you,
Cheers, guys.
Stu.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. ESL live stream is still here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight in the live. Feel free to go and check out my it's not YouTube channel. You're already on it. My website for news and all stuff. If you want to support the channel, you can also buy a book. Buy me a book, it's just like you want to buy me coffee, is just a little support, not a big deal. And you can as well check out old Mike's Home. What is that? Teachers in front. That's Mike's Home ESL shop. You can go right here. We have uh, there are t-shirts. There is also uh, the board game, the flash game, the board game I made so that you can use in a classroom. It's actually 20% off, so you can go and check that out if you want to get tons of t-shirts, funny stuff, and always good vibes. I hope you had fun today on the ESL live stream. Yeah, that was kind of a topic for sure, but I hope it has been really helpful for you. I hope to see you next week for another live. Stay tuned. Don't forget to give some likes, share. Thank you if you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and X. I don't like that X. I like that Twitter. Sounds better, no? What do you think? Thank you so much, everyone. Uh, you take care, and I'll see you in another video. Cheers, man. Happy teaching to all. That was the ESL live stream. Your life.